But let's get into what is coming up on the horizon. The college football playoff is quickly approaching as we sit here. Alabama versus Michigan, Washington versus Texas. I was driving down Ventura Boulevard on the way into work today, and I saw people wearing the Michigan Block M, and I was like, ooh. Feels like it's happening right down the way. Marvin Harrison Jr. inactive for the Cotton Bowl later on in about an hour. That game will kick off. But the two games in the playoff, they're quickly approaching. They'll be here before you know it. So, VJ, I think it's finally officially time to kind of break these two down. Yeah. Let's start with Michigan. And speaking of Michigan, we will have Doug Karsh, the voice of Michigan football, and the guy who gave me my first job in radio. So if you got a problem with it, talk to him about it. He'll be on at the bottom of the hour as we break down this Michigan football game and this Michigan and Alabama, Washington and Texas. VJ, where would you like to start?
We can start with Washington and Texas because I know most people are going to go, it's going to go Michigan. No, we can start with Washington and Texas because I think that is a very intriguing game. A lot more so, surprisingly to a lot of people, than the Michigan-Alabama game because this Washington-Texas game, I feel like Texas snuck in. I do. I feel like Texas snuck in. Yes, I'm on the side that Florida State got hosed. And I thought Georgia got hosed. I don't like the number one team falling completely out after losing the conference championship game. I think 3 or 4 at the least is where they would have fallen. Last year, we saw TCU lose the conference championship game sitting at number 4. And stayed there when they lost to Kansas State. I didn't know how you take a team that's won as many games as Georgia, back-to-back national championships, and then going undefeated this year until they ran into Alabama fallout. So I look at these two teams.
To borrow a point from you really quickly.
Sure.
It's a prime reason and prime example as to why you should not be ranking teams until, mid-October.
I like
because
Halloween.
Georgia was the number one team throughout the entire year until they lost. And I think if we had just kind of thrown all the teams in a bag and pulled them out October 15th or so, Georgia would have been top 5, but probably not number 1.
No, because we saw some games that they struggled. And we've talked about that on Martin and VJ. We ran that thing up and down. But I still thought that was still one of the best 4 teams in the nation. I understand Texas got in. Texas blew out Oklahoma. They put it on them in the Big 12 championship game, but they had also lost to Oklahoma early in the year. So they had that one loss earlier in the year. They went and beat Alabama, and I understand how Bama got in because Bama's Bama, okay? I'm not going to make no complaints about Bama being in. Michigan's going to take care of that on Monday, so I'm not tripping on Bama being there. But I felt Texas kind of backed their way in. And then if you flip to Washington, I still feel like we're going, Washington Huskies, but, Penix Jr., but they're undefeated. They didn't lose a game, and people thought that Oregon was better than them, but they beat Oregon twice, not once, but twice, dos times this year, and they have NFL receivers. They have a top 10, top 12 draft pick at the quarterback position. They got what they say in this business, dudes up and down that field, and I think we're still kind of waiting for them to prove themselves, and I think they already have. So if you look at this game, Texas can be susceptible on the back end of that defense. Washington likes to throw it around, but then on the other side, Texas likes to run the ball, work off of play action, and then attack the defensive backs. And Washington, I think that's the type of game we're going to see. People are calling a high-scoring game. This feels like with this much time we see in bowl games, 3 weeks to prepare. I really look at this situation, look at this game, and I'm like, bro, this feels like 27, 23, 24, 22, something like that where we, middle of the second quarter, you kind of look and go, hey, this isn't the offensive explosion we thought it would be. Both these defenses feel disrespected, and they've shown up to play, and they've also had 3 weeks to prepare. I like Washington in this game because, like with most football games, I'm going to pick who has the better quarterback. And then who has the better skill position weapons for the quarterback to work with and the better coaching. And you love Washington's coaching. I'm going with Washington to win this game and then end up playing on January 8th for the national championship.
I'm with you on that one. So you like the under as well. The under sitting right now at 63.5 is the total.
Absolutely.
But I'm with you on that. I think that, because really what it is, it's a championship fight, right? It's like one of those Floyd Mayweather, where all right, we're gonna feel each other out for the first few rounds. Yep. You know what I mean? We're gonna duck, dodge, take a couple hits, give a couple hits, and see what's what. Maybe we can knock you out in the first quarter, but probably you're gonna eat that punch, right? Yep. So I imagine we'll see a couple deep shots early, but they'll probably fall incomplete or something along those lines. I'm with you on that one. I think that we're kind of see something similar there. I do like Washington's coaching staff more than I like Texas's coaching staff. Steve Sarkisian, despite this year, has shown to me a propensity to blow big games. This is about as big as it gets. There's only one bigger throughout the rest of the college football season. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. I do think that Michael Penix's experience in playing college football, I mean, I remember it feels like I was in my dorm room in Michigan watching Michael Penix play at Indiana. So he's playing college football for so long. I'll go ahead as well and take the Washington Huskies there. I do expect them to beat Texas. I like both. Never mind. I don't like both underdogs. I like Michigan in the next one, but I do like Washington in this matchup. And plus, I think Rome Odunze has a big game. Man. I think he's very nice.
He's got Sunday written all over him, number one. So, yeah. And then also, too, watch the running game in these games. These bowl games where you have this much time, there's always going to be a part of the game that we're looking at schematically that we don't talk about and we don't bring up. I think the running games for both sides are going to surprise us because you're not just going to lay it all on your quarterback. There's going to be surprises in both of these games. I think there's players that we'll look at and go, wow, we weren't thinking about him. If you think about Michigan last year, I know JJ threw the 2 pick sixes, which in my opinion cost him the game. But other than that, he was damn near flawless. And he really brought Michigan back and actually kept Michigan in that game and gave them a chance to win that game down the stretch. And nobody saw that coming. We're looking at the running game. We're looking at the running backs. We're looking at the running backs even for TCU. And there's just always a play or two in these games, man. And it comes from a player that you just don't talk a lot about. You know them. You know who they are. They're a good player. You can go back and pull up highlights and recite some of their stats. I think that's what we're going to see in the Washington game. But I like Washington in a close game. Defenses show up. I like mid-20s. Definitely give me the under on 65. Neither one of these defenses are giving up over 30 points each. I just can't see that coming.
And it seems to me that we both agree that we will have a Pac-12 team in the national championship game as the Pac-12 ceases to exist as we know it. But let's look at the other side, Michigan and Alabama. That game being played out here in Pasadena, California, just about 20 minutes from where we sit currently. Where you at there?
I like Michigan in a close one here, too. They always think that we always see blowouts in these college football playoff games. I don't see that this year because what I do see is 4 really good football teams and 4 teams that can really go toe-to-toe with each other. Michigan, number 1 in the nation, points allowed 9.5. Number 2 in the nation, yards per game at 235.7. Do I think they'll hold those numbers? No. Bama's got dudes. They got a quarterback. They got Saban. They've had 3 weeks to prepare. But I don't think that Alabama's just going to run up and down the field. Michigan has 20 draftees, okay? And 12 of those guys are all over the defense. They rotate as many as 12 defensive linemen, so you're going to have fresh legs pretty much all game long. Once again, they haven't played in 3 weeks. That's going to be able to try and attempt to contain Milroe. I would employ Jimmy Burgers to use what Georgia went away from early in the SEC championship game. The double spy, and I tweeted it, the double spy was working. And for some unknown reason, Kirby Smart went away from it. The minute he went away from it, Milroe started to get, even though he didn't have a great game, he made enough plays against a single spy and what they were trying to run to pull off the win and win that game. But Michigan can run the football. We all know that. Alabama's been run on by Auburn and by Texas. If Jimmy Burgers and the staff went and put that tape on, we have the best offensive line in football, the Remington Award winners the last 2 years, All-American. He's out, but Zach Zenner, unanimous first team, 3 other linemen, All-American. They're going to get down and dirty. And Blake Corum, this is his game, man. This is the Blake game. He missed out last year getting hurt against Illinois, missed the Big Ten championship game, missed the Ohio State game.
Missed a shot at the Heisman, too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, well, he was number 1 at the Heisman. He was definitely winning the Heisman. But I think this is a feed me, coach. I've been resting the last 3 weeks. You guys kind of been holding me a little bit. Donovan Edwards also needs to be really big here tight ends. I just think Michigan makes enough plays, and I'm putting it also on JJ. JJ's going to make the plays down the stretch and the throws that people don't think he can make and the plays that people don't think he can make. Remember, he can also use his legs. He's a 4.5 40 guy, so he's not just a slow trotter getting out of the pocket. No, he'll tuck that thing and take off a run. I like Michigan. I think a little more points scored in this one. I like 29-27, Martin.
I wonder if Bill O'Brien would ask J.J. McCarthy to change positions. Things that make you say,
Arsenio. That's nice. I like that. I used to watch Arsenio Hall every night.
I did not know that was from the Arsenio Hall show.
Yeah, that was one of his things. He, when he would do his monologue, he would like things that make you go, and then the crowd would go, and then he would read the joke in the monologue. That's Arsenio Hall, baby.
Maybe we should take it.
Late night take.
He hasn't been on TV in 25 years.
True, very true. Other than the second Coming to America movie, but that's about it.
That was direct to streaming. Does that count as being on TV?
That was straight to Amazon.